We have a Rockets signing incoming as a new report reveals a wild target for the Houston Rockets as they have one roster spot left, and with a new sharpshooter on the market, it's a perfect fit. We have the latest for you right here on Rockets Digest. Welcome in, everybody. I'm Jace Andrews. I appreciate you tuning in to today's show. The Rockets have 14 of 15 roster spots filled up, and there is a new guy, or maybe I should say a guy who has reappeared on the free agency market that could sign for a veteran that would be perfect for the Houston Rockets. Now, we'll get into that in just a moment, but before that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. It's 100% free. We're going to be providing more and more content, hopefully on the daily level as we get closer to the 2025-2026 NBA season. So, if you're looking for coverage of the Houston Rockets throughout their hopeful championship season, then subscribe today and join us for the ride. This offseason has been great. There's no other way to put it. The trade for Kevin Durant, the ability to sign Josh Okogie, Dorian Finney-Smith, not to mention Clint, Capela, and some extensions that you had with your own coach, Jabari Smith Jr., even Fred VanVleet. All the right moves were made by Rafael Stone. Could he have one more left in him, though? Because there is a point of contention between Rockets organization and Rockets fans that the shooting ability of the Houston Rockets is not up to where it should be for a championship caliber team. In come a new sharpshooter who has, I'm going to say, reappeared on the market in Malik Beasley. Now, it's a need they could address. It's a point where they could usually add a spot at the guard position, and he would not sign for anything more than a veteran minimum, which with the veteran exception, it's going to be easily keeping the Rockets under that first apron. So let's go into the article, kind of talk about what is the latest with all this. We start with Killian Wright, Rockets SI, saying, quote, after an offseason of roster shuffling, 14 of the 15 standard roster spots are filled, giving the Rockets flexibility to sign another player to a veteran minimum contract. Key point there is veteran minimum. And funny enough, Malik Beasley probably should not be signing to a veteran minimum contract, but he had a little bit of a, let's say, problem. Here it is. Killian Wright once again saying, quote, veteran sharpshooter Malik Beasley has seemingly returned to the free agent market due to no longer being a target of an FBI sports gambling investigation, end quote. Yeah, right as the NBA free agency was about to open or opened, I don't exactly remember the exact date of it, but he was put into this FBI investigation on sports gambling, and there was a potential for him to be suspended, not be able to play. So teams kind of stayed away from him, and rightfully so at the time. Now, what stinks for Malik Beasley is this obviously was dropped. So what now? Well, teams have kind of already filled up their roster to a pretty decent point, and the most he could sign for a lot of teams is going to be veteran minimum in that cap space area. Now, we actually talked about Malik Beasley, 3 months ago when we were talking about free agency and who the Rockets should go out and get. He was a main. We mentioned him. We talked about the importance of adding a guy who can, help you out in the shooting game, because I'm not going to sit here and say I don't like the moves. I think the Rockets have made fantastic moves. I would have liked some more shooting. For sure. But Ime Udoka, he's built this team on defense, and he's going to continue to do that same thing, which, if it works out, fine. Malik Beasley is coming off a very incredible year, probably one of his best in his career, if not the best, where he averaged 16.3 points per game, 27.8 minutes per game, and of course 2.6 rebounds per game. A field goal percentage was high, a three-point percentage was high. It was all very good for Malik Beasley, and I think he'd be a perfect fit for the Houston Rockets. That being said, I don't exactly know what would be the contract situation, because like I said, this guy was poised to make a pretty good amount in free agency, and all of a sudden, he's in a spot where he's back on the market, but teams have kind of spent up their money, and it's not going to be something that people are going to go out and pay him a lot. It's tough, and it's unfortunate, but it's the way it is, and this is a perfect time for the Rockets to go out and pounce on it. Killian Wright of Rockets SI saying, quote, he was likely poised for a large contract in the past free agency cycle, but his plans were derailed following the investigation. Now, seemingly back on the market, he'll be forced to take another minimum contract, as most teams have spent the majority of their salary cap, end quote. Now, there's a couple of teams that have the ability to go out and sign, / if they want to go above the first apron for Malik Beasley, if they feel he has a necessity to make them a contender, then so be it. But for the Houston Rockets, for most teams in the National Basketball Association, you're thinking that this would be a perfect fit to add him at a veteran minimum level. Houston, of course, poses an interesting point because you have the ability to, be in a good spot to win a championship. And that's where we go with another quote here from Killian Wright saying, quote, "He'd be a dream fit for Houston, as the team lacks proven plus shooters. Next season, they'll be heavily reliant on a bounce-back three-point shooting season from Fred VanVleet or leaps from youngsters like Reed Sheppard and Jabari Smith Jr. to become true positive floor spacers." I mentioned it all throughout the offseason. The Houston Rockets did the right things. They made the right moves. But if you go look at this depth chart, I don't like our depth as a shooting team, first of all, and especially at the guards position, which Malik Beasley will mostly play the shooting guard role. Fred VanVleet, Amen Thompson, Reed Sheppard, Josh Okogie, and Aaron Holiday are going to be your main guards throughout this. Now, Alperen Şengün was not a good three-point shooter, and I don't think we're going to see much of him shooting threes. Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. He's going to do what he wants. I like that. For Jabari Smith, I'd like to see an improvement in his three-point shooting. I think there is a lot to be excited about with Jabari Smith, but the expectation for the Houston Rockets when you have the ability to go out and sign Malik Beasley can't be, well, we're not going to sign him because we see that a three-point shooting is coming from Jabari Smith. When if you go to Malik and say, hey, we are a team that is poised to win an NBA championship, and to my knowledge, the need is not there for the Oklahoma City Thunder. The need is not there for the Denver Nuggets. The need is not there for most of the, what you would say, championship caliber teams besides the Houston Rockets. Even the Knicks, I don't think they would need a Malik Beasley. The Rockets, in the position that they have kind of built their team, he would be a good use. Now, he would come off the bench, and he wouldn't have the higher role that he could have on maybe a lower team, but he would have the ability to go out and be the potential of winning a championship, which arguably maybe is more important to Malik Beasley. I mean, it's really up to him at this point as to whether or not what's the most important. Now, at the same time, we're talking about these roster spots, and that's a big reason why Malik Beasley is being mentioned. 14 of 15 slots filled. But that's not to say that the Rockets couldn't go out and just upgrade one of their guys from a G League contract or one of their two-way players to a full contract. Let's kind of go where we go to in a report here. Oh, if I can find it. There it is. Killian Wright once again saying, quote, "Given that the Rockets already roster 14 players on standard contracts, they aren't required to sign another player." Meaning that Beasley isn't a necessity. They could also take an internal route to fill the 15th man by promoting Cameron Matthews from an Exhibit 10 deal to a standard deal, end quote. Cameron Matthews is a guy, they was an undrafted free agent they signed in Mississippi State, ended up getting on a 10-day deal, ended up moving that 10-day deal to an Exhibit 10 deal. The chance for him to be on the roster is right now very high considering what they're at. There's also a chance that the Rockets decide that J.D. Davidson, a G League MVP that were playing with the Celtics last year, that they want to make him a full contract. Now, the money changes and there's stuff like that, and as of right now, JD can play a certain amount of games with us, so is it really a point to upgrade that contract when he's already going to be able to be on the roster for some parts of the season? So it's an interesting discussion, but I ask you as Rockets fans and Rockets Nation, would you like to see the Houston Rockets sign Malik Beasley? I want you to type S if you're thinking for signing him, or type P for passing on this. Let me know down there in the comment section. Personally, I'm an S. I think it's a sign. I think it's a perfect thing for the Houston Rockets, especially when you go and pose the idea to him, hey, you're going to be on a veteran minimum deal. At least that is the most likely outcome here for you. Would you rather be on a veteran minimum deal with us where you're going to play rotational and valuable minutes and be a very good point in our championship potential team and go win a championship? Or would you rather maybe go make a little bit more money, maybe have a better rotational role somewhere else, but have a lesser likelihood of winning a championship or being a part of a playoff team? It's ultimately going to be up to Malik Beasley and whether or not the Rockets even try to pursue him, but that's why we posed it on the show. What would you do? Let me know down in the comments section. As always, we appreciate you tuning into today's show. We're going to get more and more news as the offseason continues to come to an end. We're getting close now to media day, training camp, all that. It's an exciting time. So make sure you are subscribed and stick around for all the latest Rockets news. But for now, we'll see you next time here on Rockets Digest. Peace out, guys.